Barbados, the island no one talks about but everyone should visit. Barbados sits quietly on the eastern edge of the Caribbean Sea, often left out of conversations about tropical destinations, even though it has all the qualities travelers search for when they think of an island escape. This small nation, measuring just 34 kilometers in length and 23 kilometers in width, lies east of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and northeast of Venezuela, placing it slightly outside the chain of islands known as the Lesser Antilles. Its location gives it a unique identity, one that feels connected to the Caribbean in culture and spirit, yet geographically distinct from its neighbors. Barbados is an island that doesn't rely on overblown advertising or dramatic claims to attract visitors. Instead, it's a place that quietly earns admiration through its stability, its people, and the way it balances tourism with everyday life. When travelers arrive in Barbados, the first thing that stands out isn't a man-made attraction or luxury resort, but the island's simplicity and order. The roads are well paved and organized, traffic moves relatively calmly compared to other Caribbean nations, and the local buses operate with a sense of rhythm that reflects both structure and spontaneity. Bridgetown, the capital city, is not a futuristic skyline of towers but rather a low-rise mix of colonial buildings, modern shops, and open-air markets that give it an approachable charm. It's a working city where locals handle business, trade, and government affairs, but it also accommodates visitors with restaurants, museums, and waterfront promenades that open up to the calm blue of Carlisle Bay. There's a feeling of quiet efficiency in how things move, as if the island has learned how to evolve without rushing. Geographically, Barbados is not volcanic like many of its Caribbean counterparts. It's a coral limestone island, formed by the gradual upward movement of oceanic deposits over millions of years. This geological makeup gives Barbados its signature soft sand beaches and clean groundwater. The coral acts as a natural filter, which is why the sea here appears so clear and the sand feels almost powder-like underfoot. The terrain is mostly flat to gently undulating, except in the central highlands where small hills, such as Mount Hillaby, the island's highest point at just over 340 meters, break the horizon. The climate is tropical, with an average temperature hovering between 24 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius year-round, moderated by the northeast trade winds that keep the island comfortable even during the warmer months. Rainfall is frequent between June and November, but showers are usually short and followed by sunshine. Barbados is home to around 280,000 people, the majority of whom are of African descent, descendants of enslaved Africans brought during the British colonial period. English is the official language, and the dialect spoken locally, known as Bajan, reflects the rhythm and expression of the island's identity. The currency is the Barbadian dollar, pegged to the US dollar at a steady rate of 2 to 1, which makes financial transactions easy for visitors. Christianity is the dominant religion, and churches, both Anglican and evangelical, are found in every parish. Education is highly valued here, and literacy rates are among the highest in the region. The island's reputation for safety and hospitality makes it one of the most comfortable destinations for solo travelers, families, and first-time Caribbean visitors who might feel uncertain about venturing beyond the usual resort zones found elsewhere. Historically, Barbados was one of Britain's earliest and longest-held colonies in the Caribbean. The English first settled in 1627, and from that point forward, the island became a central hub for sugarcane cultivation and the transatlantic slave trade. For centuries, sugar was the backbone of its economy, shaping everything from land ownership to population distribution. Plantations spread across the island, and the wealth generated from sugar exports made Barbados one of the richest colonies in the British Empire during the 17th and 18th centuries. That wealth, however, came at the expense of enslaved Africans who were forced to work under brutal conditions. Today, the remnants of that era remain visible in plantation houses, mill ruins, and historical estates that have been repurposed into museums or guest houses. Barbados gained independence from Britain in 1966 and later made history again in 2021 by becoming a republic, officially removing Queen Elizabeth II as its head of state and establishing its own president. It was a symbolic step that reflected the island's maturity and confidence in its national identity. Economically, Barbados stands out in the Caribbean for its stability and relatively high standard of living. Its economy is driven primarily by tourism, international business, and financial services, but agriculture and manufacturing still play supporting roles. Unlike many tourist-heavy islands, Barbados has managed to balance tourism with local life, preventing the kind of overdependence that often leads to cultural erosion. Visitors will find that the resorts, hotels, and villas coexist with local homes, schools, and community centers in a way that feels integrated rather than divided. Tourism is strong, but it doesn't overwhelm daily life. Many Bajans work in hospitality, construction, education, or public service, and their interaction with tourists feels natural, not transactional. This groundedness gives Barbados an authenticity that can be rare in places heavily influenced by mass tourism. Beaches are one of Barbados' strongest attractions, yet they are not marketed with unrealistic promises. They are naturally beautiful, not artificially enhanced. On the west coast, often called the Platinum Coast, you find calm waters and fine sand beaches such as Malins Beach, Paynes Bay, and Sandy Lane. These are ideal for swimming, snorkeling, and relaxing in a peaceful environment. The water here is so clear that you can see small fish darting around even when standing in waist-deep areas. The south coast, particularly around Dover Beach and Accra Beach, offers a livelier atmosphere with hotels, beach bars, and food stalls that attract both tourists and locals. The east coast, facing the Atlantic, is a different world entirely, rugged, windy, and dramatic. Bathsheba Beach, famous among surfers, has strong waves and rock formations that give it a wild and untouched appearance. Even though swimming isn't always safe there, it's one of the most visually striking parts of the island. The northern cliffs near Animal Flower Cave show another face of Barbados, steep, natural rock formations that drop into the sea, reminding visitors that the island's beauty lies in its contrast. Beyond the beaches, Barbados offers a surprisingly diverse range of experiences for such a small territory. In the center of the island, Harrison's Cave showcases underground caverns filled with stalactites and stalagmites, illuminated by guided tours that explain how the island's limestone structure works as a natural filter system. In the countryside, visitors can drive through small villages like St. George or St. Thomas and see ordinary island life, modest homes surrounded by fruit trees, small grocery shops, and children playing near village greens. The island is divided into 11 parishes, each with its own character. St. Philip and Christ Church are more residential, while St. James and St. Peter have more of the upscale tourism developments. St. Lucy, the northernmost parish, remains largely rural and less commercialized, offering scenic drives and ocean views that feel far removed from the resort areas. Culture in Barbados is both lively and grounded. Bajans take pride in their music, cuisine, and traditions, but they express it in ways that feel natural rather than performative. Calypso and soca are central to the island's sound, especially during the Crop Over Festival, Barbados' biggest celebration, held annually between June and August. Crop Over began during the colonial era as a harvest festival marking the end of the sugarcane season. Today, it has evolved into a colorful carnival filled with costumes, street parades, music competitions, and parties that bring the entire island to life. What makes it unique compared to other Caribbean carnivals is its community-driven nature. Almost every neighborhood participates in some way, and the energy feels genuine. It's not just about tourism or entertainment, it's about heritage and the joy of survival through history. Barbadian cuisine reflects the island's blend of African, British, and Caribbean influences, shaped by necessity, creativity, and centuries of adaptation. Meals are hearty, flavorful, and designed around locally available ingredients rather than imported luxury. The national dish, flying fish and cuckoo, remains a symbol of the island's culinary identity. Cuckoo, made from cornmeal and okra, has a soft, smooth texture and is served with flying fish that are often steamed or fried in a mildly spiced sauce. It's a humble but satisfying dish that represents both the ocean and the land. Macaroni pie, another Bajan favorite, is baked with cheese, mustard, and local seasonings, and it accompanies nearly every lunch platter across the island. On Fridays, many locals gather at the Oistins Fish Fry in Christchurch Parish, an open-air market near the sea where fresh fish like mahi-mahi, marlin, and tuna are grilled and served with plantains, rice, and coleslaw. The atmosphere is social, not commercial. Visitors and locals sit at long tables, sharing food, laughter, and music without the artificial performance often seen in overly tourist-oriented destinations. Eating in Barbados is less about luxury and more about shared experience. Rum is another major part of Barbadian culture and history. The island is widely considered the birthplace of rum, and the Mount Gay Rum Distillery, established in 1703, is often cited as the oldest commercial rum distillery in the world. Rum production in Barbados started on sugar plantations as a byproduct of molasses, and over time, it became a refined national craft. Today, rum shops are scattered across every neighborhood, small, casual establishments that serve drinks and food, and act as community meeting points. A rum shop in Barbados is not a bar in the modern sense, it's more like a social space where conversations about sports, politics, and daily life take place in a relaxed environment. The culture of these rum shops gives visitors a glimpse into the island's rhythm, a balance of work, relaxation, and social connection that defines Bajan life. Even visitors who don't drink often find the atmosphere friendly and welcoming, as these spaces are more about conversation than consumption. The social atmosphere of Barbados stands out in the Caribbean for its calm, polite, and respectful tone. Bajans are known for their friendliness, but it's not the exaggerated hospitality sometimes performed for tourists. It's a quiet, genuine politeness that comes from cultural habit. People greet each other in passing, say good morning or good evening, and expect the same in return. There's an underlying sense of order and mutual respect that shapes daily interactions. Crime rates are relatively low, and the police presence, though visible, is not intimidating. Tourists can walk through Bridgetown, St. Lawrence Gap, or Speightstone comfortably during the day, and even at night, the main areas feel secure. This safety and stability have helped Barbados maintain one of the most consistent tourism industries in the Caribbean. For many visitors, the sense of ease, being able to explore without feeling on guard, becomes one of the most memorable parts of the trip. Transportation around Barbados is straightforward. The island's road network covers nearly all areas, and it's possible to drive from the south coast to the north in less than an hour. Driving is on the left side, as in the United Kingdom, and the roads are generally well maintained. Visitors who prefer not to rent cars can rely on the island's extensive public transport system. Small, colorful minibuses and route taxis run along major routes at regular intervals, and they are both affordable and lively. These buses often play local music and operate with an informal but efficient style. Passengers signal by raising a hand, and the driver stops almost anywhere. The experience is part of the island's culture. It's not just transportation but a small window into daily life. For those who prefer comfort, there are regulated taxis and ride-hailing services available, though they cost more than buses. The island's small size makes getting around easy and encourages exploration beyond the main tourist zones. Accommodation options in Barbados range from high-end resorts on the west coast to budget-friendly guest houses and apartments inland. Areas like Holetown and St. James feature luxury properties such as Sandy Lane and Fairmorn Royal Pavilion, which cater to upscale travelers. However, smaller hotels, Airbnbs, and family-run guest houses are available across the island, particularly in Christchurch and St. Lawrence Gap. The hospitality industry here focuses on comfort and service rather than overindulgence. Even modest accommodations tend to be clean, safe, and well-kept, reflecting the island's reputation for order and reliability. Visitors who prefer a more local experience can stay in residential areas, where they'll find small bakeries, corner shops, and neighborhood restaurants that reveal more of the island's everyday rhythm. Barbados' education and healthcare systems are among the most advanced in the Caribbean, which contributes to its high human development rating. Education is free and compulsory up to age 16, and the island's literacy rate consistently exceeds 98%. The University of the West Indies has a campus here, which attracts students from across the region. Healthcare is accessible through a mix of public and private institutions, with the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Bridgetown serving as the main medical center. These factors make Barbados not only a pleasant place to visit but also one of the more comfortable islands for long-term stays or digital nomads seeking a stable base in the region. In fact, the government introduced the Barbados Welcome Stamp during the pandemic, allowing remote workers to live and work on the island for up to a year, a policy that boosted the island's profile among professionals looking for a safe, reliable Caribbean destination. Religious life in Barbados is another important part of its identity. The island's history with Britain left a strong Anglican presence, but over time, the religious landscape diversified. Today, there are Anglican, Catholic, Pentecostal, Methodist, and Adventist congregations, as well as smaller Rastafarian and spiritualist communities. Church attendance remains relatively high, especially on Sundays, and many Barbadians describe their faith as central to their daily lives. This sense of morality and discipline has helped preserve the island's social structure. Visitors often notice the calm and respectfulness that extends from this background, even in non-religious settings. While religion plays a visible role, it's not intrusive, it simply blends into the broader social fabric. Modern Barbados also celebrates its global contributions with quiet pride. The most famous example is Rihanna, the international singer and businesswoman who was born in St. Michael Parish. Her success story is not treated as distant celebrity news but as a national symbol of achievement. In 2021, the government honored her as a national hero during the Republic ceremony, recognizing her role in bringing Barbados to the world's attention. The Rihanna Drive in Bridgetown, named after her, has become both a local landmark and a subtle reminder that even a small island can influence global culture. Beyond entertainment, Barbados contributes to regional diplomacy and education through organizations such as the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, and the University of the West Indies. Its leaders often promote unity, climate awareness, and fair trade, issues that matter deeply to small island nations facing modern global challenges. Barbados' infrastructure reflects steady, thoughtful development rather than rapid urbanization. The island has reliable electricity, clean water, and stable internet connections, things often taken for granted but not guaranteed in many small island economies. Roads are clearly marked, and signage is in English, making it easy for visitors to navigate. Bridgetown's port serves as a major hub for cruise ships, and Grantley Adams International Airport, located near Christchurch, connects the island to North America, Europe, and other Caribbean countries. Flights from cities like London, Toronto, New York, and Miami operate regularly, making Barbados accessible yet not overcrowded. Unlike many resort destinations that rely on seasonal tourism spikes, Barbados has a year-round appeal because of its consistent climate and balanced economy. One of the most distinctive aspects of Barbados is its cleanliness and sense of civic responsibility. Public areas, including beaches, parks, and streets, are generally well maintained, and littering is uncommon. This is not due to heavy policing but rather to community norms and awareness. Schools and local organizations regularly conduct cleanup initiatives, and many businesses promote environmental responsibility. The government enforces laws against plastic waste and encourages recycling. This environmental consciousness isn't presented as a tourist marketing slogan, it's simply part of how the island functions. As a result, visitors often describe Barbados as one of the most organized and well-kept islands in the region. Cultural entertainment in Barbados offers something for every interest. Beyond crop over, there are year-round events such as the Whole Town Festival, which celebrates the arrival of the first English settlers, the Oistins Fish Festival, honoring the island's fishing community, and the Barbados Food and Rum Festival, showcasing local cuisine. Music is everywhere, from calypso tents during festival season to jazz evenings at small venues along the coast. Art galleries in Hastings and Bridgetown feature local painters and sculptors whose work captures both traditional and modern Caribbean life. Theatre and spoken word events are also common, reflecting the island's strong literary and performance culture. These activities are not created only for tourists but are deeply embedded in local life, which makes them authentic experiences rather than staged attractions. Barbados' approach to tourism emphasizes sustainability and respect for community spaces. The government regulates coastal development and has limits on large-scale construction to preserve the island's shoreline. Coral reefs are protected zones, and snorkeling tours are monitored to prevent ecological damage. Many hotels and tour operators now promote eco-friendly practices, from solar power to water conservation. Visitors are encouraged to respect these efforts by minimizing waste and supporting local businesses. This balanced approach ensures that tourism continues to benefit the economy without degrading the environment that supports it. For travelers who appreciate responsible tourism, Barbados stands out as a model of how an island can welcome visitors while maintaining its integrity.